All right, what's going on, y'all? So the summer shred has officially begun. So today I'm going to take you through a full day of eating, showing you exactly what I'm eating right now on this cut. My calories are still on the higher end, so I'm by no means in suffer mode yet, but we are definitely cutting right now. Weight is starting to come down day by day, week by week, so we're successfully on this cut now. So this morning was actually one of the few mornings that I don't do fasted cardio. I did leg day yesterday, and my leg days and the day following leg day, I don't do fasted cardio, at least not right now. I will be adding in a cardio session on the day after leg day here in the next couple weeks, but I'm waiting to pull that lever for fat loss until I need it. And right now we're still dropping weight. The changes in the mirror are still happening very efficiently, so we don't need that quite yet. But I've already whipped up meal one. If you guys have been watching this channel, you already know what this is. This is my Protein Bowl. I've got 60 grams of oats, 50 grams of blueberries, 2 scoops of whey protein, and then some cinnamon powder and Himalayan pink salt. And this is pretty much what I have 90% of mornings. I have been asked, by several people now if I don't like eggs. So first off, yes, I do like eggs, and I will have eggs if I'm craving it. But me personally, I go get blood work checked every 3 to 4 months, and I have seen a direct correlation in my cholesterol levels to eggs. And I know there's so many studies out there showing that eggs can actually improve your cholesterol, or they should at minimum have no negative effect on your cholesterol. Me personally, anecdotally, I have seen a correlation in the amount of eggs I eat to my cholesterol. And whenever I drop eggs out of the diet, or at least minimize the amount of eggs in my diet, my cholesterol comes back into the normal range, the good range. So at least right now during this cutting time, and for last show prep even, I didn't have eggs in my diet. I'm just refraining from having eggs in my diet right now, at least here at home. If I want to go get a cheat meal out or something that's got eggs, I'm not going to worry about that. But here at home, I don't really cook that many eggs. I don't even have eggs in the refrigerator right now. But that's how we're rolling with this. So I'm going to go ahead and get meal one down, and I'll show you all what we're working with for meal two. All right, so now it's time for meal two. So meal 2, 5, and 6 are actually really small meals. So a lot of people, would prefer eating only 4 meals per day or 5 meals per day. I typically eat 6 to 7 meals per day, and it's just what I like. I'd rather have smaller meals throughout the day and have more of them than essentially eat, larger meals just a few times per day. And that just helps me, especially when getting cut. It keeps some of the cravings away and keeps a lot of the hunger away. But my point here is if you guys are trying to fill out your daily calories or macros, you definitely don't need to do it over 6 meals per day. It's not going to necessarily be better than if you were to do it with 4 or 5 meals per day. But for meal 2, I've got 45 grams of jasmine rice. I've got 7 ounces of chicken breast, some black pepper, Himalayan pink salt, and then I use this 0-calorie habanero honey mustard sauce. So like I said, this is a pretty small meal, but this is one that I actually really do enjoy. I typically do my workouts after meal 3, but sometimes I do it after meal 2. And if I do it after meal 2, then I just swap out this meal for meal 3. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this down. The next meal, our pre-workout meal, I'm gonna explain what we're doing right now with the carbs and how we're doing the carb cycling, all of that. All right, so now it's time for meal 3. So like I said before, meal 3 is my pre-workout meal. You'll notice that meals 3 and meal 4, so my pre, intra, and post-workout meals, these are my biggest meals of the day. I do this very much on purpose. I try to have the most, or the big boluses of carbs in my day during my pre, intra, and post-workout, and I won't actually start decreasing that amount. That will be the last lever I pull essentially for the cut. So basically, I like to decrease the amount of my carbs and some fats in pretty much all the other meals before I start touching the pre, intra, or post-workout carbs. I do that on purpose because especially when cutting and you're trying to retain as much muscle mass as possible, the biggest determinant of that is your performance in the gym. So once you start having your strength go and your lifts really start going down, that's when you're at bigger risk of catabolizing the muscle you've built up. If you're wanting to retain as much muscle mass as possible while getting shredded, you want to keep the performance up in the gym. You want to keep as much strength on point to what you had before the cut for as long as possible. In doing that, the easiest way to do that is having your pre, intra, and post-workout nutrition set up very, very properly. So for this meal, I've got 7 ounces of chicken breast with some more of that 0-calorie hot sauce on there. And then for carbs, I do 90 grams of cream of rice with 16 grams of nut butter. Today I just went with almond butter. I swapped between natural peanut butter and almond butter. And for today's flavor, I went with chocolate brownie by Rice and Grinds. I've got tons of flavors by Rice and Grinds and all of them are bomb. But the chocolate brownie one is definitely my go-to. It's definitely like a dessert. But this is my meal 3. Like I said before, I am doing somewhat of a carb cycle right now. So how I've got it is I've got 2 high days for 1 low day. And what that means is basically the days that I lift, because right now I'm lifting 2 days on, 1 day off. The lifting days, I've got higher calories and more carbs than on the rest days from lifting. And so what this is doing, I'm using less carbs on those rest days than I am on the lifting days. And so this is where I've got, the pre, intra, and post-workout nutrition. I've got those meals with a lot more carbs. And essentially, I don't have those on my low days. So my low days end up being about 250 to 300 calories less than my lifting days. And most of that comes from carbs. But that's how I'm carb cycling right now. It works extremely well for me. I even utilize this in the off season as well. So I've got, higher days on my lifting days than on rest days. And I'm able to stay leaner even in the off season because of it. But it helps me even cut a lot more efficiently. So that's how we're rolling with it right now. 2 high days for 1 low day. Obviously this is a high day, but I'm gonna go ahead and get this meal down. For meal 4, which is gonna be the intra and post-workout nutrition, I just consider what I drink during the workout itself and what I eat after the workout. That's as 1 meal, that's meal 4. I'll go ahead and show y'all what we're working with after the workout.
All right, just wrapped up that workout. So that workout was my push A. So my push A, I've got it set up with 3 chest movements, 3 shoulder movements, and 3 tricep movements. For chest, I do 2 pressing movements and 1 fly movement. For shoulders, I do 2 lateral movements and 1 pressing movement. And then for triceps, I just do 3 tricep movements. I've definitely found with shoulders, you still want a pressing movement in there, but a lot of the shoulder width comes from doing laterals. And I see too many people focusing on just a ton of pressing movements and not doing enough laterals, or at least laterals with good form. But that's kind of like tip of the day for y'all. So for nutrition, in there I did a scoop of BPN G1M Sport, that's their carb powder. And then I do that with BCAAs. And then walking out of the gym, I do 2 scoops of protein powder. And then to wrap up my kind of intra and post-workout nutrition, I get back to the house and I'll show you what we're working with there, and I'll give you all kind of the totals for the intra and post-workout nutrition.
All right, so I just got home from the gym. So right after the gym, I do my post-workout cereal. And this is something that I enjoy pretty much year-round, whether I'm trying to put on muscle or frankly cutting. The only time I'll take out the post-workout cereal is if I'm deep into a contest prep. Right now that I'm cutting, I do stick to the Rice Krispies. It's more of the cleaner type of cereals. But when I'm trying to put on size, I'll switch up the cereals. My go-to is Cocoa Pebbles, and I do it with fat-free, lactose-free milk. So right now I've got a serving and a half of the Rice Krispies, and then I've got 240 mLs, which is 1 cup of the milk. I'll go and throw the totals up on the screen for that. But the reason I do this, in the off season, I'll even go ahead and throw in a bagel on the way out from the gym, but it's frankly to get fast acting carbs in my system. Really, promote the recovery and the building of muscle, but especially when I'm cutting, really promote the recovery of the muscle. And then, about an hour later, which I'll show you all in just a bit, I'll have an actual meal, and that'll be meal number 5. So I'll go ahead, get this down, and I'll catch y'all in about an hour. All right, so now it's time for meal 5. So after I have my post-workout cereal, usually I wait about an hour. When I'm bulking and I'm really trying to put on muscle, I need that hour to let everything digest. I'm super full by this time of the day when I'm trying to put on size. That meals 5 and 6 is a pain to get down. So I need that hour. When I'm cutting, I could go straight from that cereal to meal 5, but I do wait, 45 minutes to an hour to just kind of space it out. That way I'm not done eating by, 7 p.m. It just helps me with the hunger throughout the night. But for meal 5, I've got 56 grams of jasmine rice. By the way, all rice totals are measured dry. I prefer to weigh my rice dries more accurate than weighing it wet. Whatever way you go with, just make sure you're consistent. But I've got 56 grams of jasmine rice, 8 ounces of lean ground beef, 96.4, and then Himalayan pink salt, black pepper, and then sriracha. So it's a super simple dish, but it's very good. So I go ahead and do this. Most of the time, if I want to swap it out, then, sometimes I'll do steak, other times I'll do salmon, but this is kind of like my red meat meal of the day. Depending on how long I'm doing this cut for, and I haven't decided, I don't really have, a show in mind, nothing like that. It's really just, doing kind of a slower cut to get shredded for summer. I'm probably going to keep a red meat dish in probably all the way through. If I was prepping for a show, the deeper I would get into prep, this meal would actually turn into a lean protein dish, typically fish, white fish like a tilapia, something like that. But since this is a kind of a slower cut, I'm keeping the red meat in for now. The deeper we get into this cut, I might make the call to remove that out. But this is my red meat meal. It's either ground beef, steak, or salmon. Salmon's not really a red meat, but it's a fattier meat or fattier fish. And that's where, this comes into play. But I do put my fats later on in the day. You'll see with meal 6, I also have some fats with that. But I'm going to go ahead and get this down, and I'll catch y'all for the last meal of the day. All right, so now it's time for the last meal of the day. So this meal actually doesn't have any direct carb sources, but I do have fats in this meal. So like I said before, I typically like to structure my diets to where, the bulk of my carbs are around the workout and then before the workout. And then I put my fats later in the day. The reason I do that is for satiety and then hunger. The deeper you get into a cut, especially if you're prepping for a show and you're really, really dieting down, you get hungry at night. And that's where your body will actually wake you up in the middle of the night and you're just sitting there hungry. So the more fats I put in my diet later in the day, basically, I'll stay full or fuller through the rest of the evening and then through the whole night while I'm sleeping until I wake up for my first meal. But for this meal, I've got 7 ounces of chicken breast with more of that habanero sauce. I've got 2 ounces of avocado and then 4 asparagus spears. As far as sauces go, in the off season, I'm very liberal with what sauces I use. I'll use anything from, ketchup to barbecue sauce, regular honey mustard. I kind of change it up. When I'm cutting, I do typically stick with low or very low calorie, or no or very low calorie sauces. And this hot sauce is kind of like my go-to. I love this stuff. So that's kind of what I rock with everything. But that wraps up kind of the 6 main meals. I technically do 7 meals if you want to count a shake, because I've got a couple hours still before I go to bed. So I'm going to get this down and then I just kind of chill out for the rest of the night. But right before bed, I like to go ahead and have a protein shake. I'm already good on protein, but if you've been following me, you know that I actually like a good bit more than 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein. I've tested everything from 1 gram to 1.5 grams, and I have seen a difference in my physique, and then especially when cutting, how much muscle I retain with how much protein I'm eating. I know there's a lot of studies out there showing you don't need more than 1 gram per pound of body weight. Me personally, I do like to have more than 1 gram per pound of body weight. So right before bed, I'll actually have a scoop and a half of protein, and then that'll wrap it up. That's literally what I have right before I go brush my teeth and get in bed. So it's kind of like the last thing of the night. But I'm going to go ahead and get this down, chill for the rest of the night. I'm going to go ahead and edit this for y'all so it can be out tomorrow. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please go ahead and smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Leave any comments or questions down below. Let me know what you guys want to see coming up here on the channel here pretty soon. I've got a lot of content ideas, but I kind of want it to be directed by what y'all need and what y'all want. So definitely let me know down in the comments below. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Be happy, be positive, be powerful, and have a great rest of your day.